Good day, Makilinians! Hello, grade 7 learners! How are you today? Join me in welcoming this day with a brand new learning experience. I am Ma'am Jonna, your virtual science teacher. For today's lesson, we will learn more about the plant and animal cells. For our most essential learning competency, differentiate plant and animal cells according to the presence or absence of certain organelles.
At the end of this lesson, you are expected to describe a plant and animal cell, recognize some organelles present in the cell, identify different parts between plant and animal cells.
According to the cell theory, all living organisms are composed of cells. The cell is the basic unit of life, and cells arise from pre-existing cells.
These are formulated by German scientists Theodor Schwann, Matthias Claden, and Rudolf Virchow.
The cell theory was developed with the advent of technology. In the modern version, it includes the following.
Number 1, energy flow occurs within cells. Number 2, heredity information or DNA is passed on from cell to cell. And number 3, all cells have the same basic chemical composition.
You can mostly see the nucleus of the cell using a light microscope. But what about the other parts? Biologists use an electron microscope.
Electron microscope is a microscope that attains extremely high resolution using an electron beam instead of a beam of light to illuminate the object of study.
With the use of electron microscope, it is easier to see the tiny parts of cells, which are called the organelles, or the cell's little organs. Since we are human, let us start by exploring our type of cell, the animal cell. Let us start with the cytoplasm. Let us proceed to the organelles which are embedded or submerged in the cytoplasm.
The cytoplasm is where all the organelles are embedded. It is a jelly-like substance that surrounds the organelles of the cell. The mitochondrion or mitochondria in plural form is where cellular respiration takes place. The product of the cellular respiration process is cellular energy. This cellular energy is in the form of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency of the cell. We make use of this energy to do our daily activities. The popular tagline for mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell. Lysosomes break down or where the cellular digestion of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins takes place. It is the suicide sac of the cell.
Why is this so? It is because whenever there are foreign substances, the lysosome ingests and breaks them down to be used in the processes inside the cell.
The Golgi bodies are the one that process and pack the proteins. It is responsible for transporting, modifying, and packaging proteins and lipids. Endoplasmic reticulum, or ER, is a network of pathways through which materials flow to different parts of the cytoplasm and serves as synthesizer, sorter, and transporter of materials such as proteins and lipids. It is also considered as the highway of the cell.
Endoplasmic reticulum is categorized into two, the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum.
The rough endoplasmic reticulum contains ribosomes, and its main function is to synthesize and transport proteins and other materials throughout the cell. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, on the other hand, does not contain ribosomes and is the one that synthesizes lipids, carbohydrates, and steroids. The ribosome is the one that synthesizes protein. Ribosomes can be seen freely around the cytoplasm or attached to endoplasmic reticulum.
Now, we are done with the organelles submerged or embedded in the cytoplasm. Let us proceed to the rest of the organelles.
The covering of our cell is the cell membrane or plasma membrane. It is differentially permeable membrane. It is like the skin that encloses the cell parts from the outside environment. It allows the entry of the materials inside the cell, and it is also where wastes exit, where serves as barrier and gatekeeper of the cell. The nucleus is the part of the cell that can be observed easily. It is the control center of the cell, also labeled as the brain of the cell.
This is where the DNA is located. Deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, exists in all living things. It has the ability to make exact copies of itself. The general parts of the cell are given to you, but some parts are particular to a plant and an animal cell. What are these parts? Let us proceed to plant cell.
The cell wall is the outer lining beside the plasma membrane. The cell wall adds stability and protection to plant cells. The chlorophyll is the chloroplast absorb light energy and convert it into chemical energy and allows plants to carry out the process of photosynthesis. The amyloplasts are found on plant cells that store starch.
We are done identifying the organelles that can only be found in plant cell. Now, let us proceed to the organelle that is only particular to animal cell, which is the centriole.
Centrioles play a role in organizing microtubules that serve as the cell's skeletal system. They help determine the locations of the nucleus and the other organelles within the cell. The vacuole in plants is larger than in animals, taking up almost all the space in a plant cell. It makes the plant cell rigid. The plants stand upright because of the water in the vacuoles. The freshness of leaves is also due to water in the vacuole. Some vacuoles in plants contain toxic or poisonous substances. In animal cells, the vacuoles are small and are called vesicles. It stores water and food and also has the task of excretion of waste materials.
There you have it. Those were the different parts present in plant and animal cell. For our engagement activity, let us answer our learning task. Try to recognize the organelles. Choose your answer from the box. I will be giving you 5 seconds to think before we reveal the answer. Are you ready? Number 1, nucleus. Number 2, mitochondria. Number 3, Golgi bodies. Number 4, endoplasmic reticulum. Number 5, chloroplast. Did you get it all correct? Very good! For our assimilation, arrange the jumble board to identify the organelle being described.
It is where all the organelles are embedded. It is the control center of the cell, also labeled as the brain of the cell. Is where cellular respiration takes place and is the powerhouse of the cell. A pigment that gives plants their green color. The outer lining beside the plasma membrane and adds stability and protection to plant cells.
Determine whether the organelles are found in an animal cell, a plant cell, or both. Put a check mark on the column we choose for each part. Now that you are already familiar with the plant and animal cell, remember the cell are the basic unit of life. You can take good care of your cells by maintaining a healthy lifestyle, such as eating healthy and nutritious foods, exercise, and enough sleep. Taking good care of your body will result for a healthy cells for a long and healthy life, especially this time of pandemic. Makilinians, I hope you've learned a lot from our lesson for today. Happy learning!